Hello, Ezekiel 8th graders. Welcome to confirmation for the rest of the year. We'll be doing this in an online format and some Zoom sessions too. It's not exactly how we envision confirmation going, but hey, we're rolling with the punches and working with what we got, and I hope that we can have some fun with it in the meantime. So your lesson for this week, you're going to continue to talk about serving, which is what you should have been talking about for the last 2 weeks. This week, you're talking about serving the world. And we have a scripture that I'm going to introduce right now. So if you want to pause this and go grab a Bible so that you can follow along, please do so. Our scripture is from Matthew 20, starting with verse 20. And the subtitle of it is called A Mother's Request. Then the mother of Zebedee's sons came to Jesus with her sons, and kneeling down asked a favor of him. "What is it you want?" he asked. She said, "Grant that one of these 2 sons of mine may sit at your right and the other at your left in your kingdom." "You don't know what you're asking," Jesus said to them. "Can you drink the cup I am going to drink?" "We can," they answered. Jesus said to them, "You will indeed drink from my cup, but to sit at my right or my left is not for me to grant. These places belong to those whom they have been prepared by my Father." When the 10 heard about this, they were indignant with the 2 brothers. Jesus called them together and said, "You know that the rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and their high officials exercise authority over them. Not so with you. Instead, whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first must be your slave. Just as the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many." So this scripture perhaps is a mother's way of maybe trying to be a little devious. It was really more about, it wasn't necessarily about her sons just sitting at the dinner table with Jesus on his right or his left. To ask that would have meant that they were really elevated, above others even. So much so that they'd sort of be like second in line after Jesus. Well, Jesus, he knows that that what she's asking isn't exactly what she's asking. And so he kind of calls her out on it. And just like all of us, that he really wants us to live with a servant heart and a servant mindset. And that as we follow him, we realize that it is not always about being the best or being the first, that it means about living with a servant heart and caring for others. And, it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with being the best or being first, but it's kind of how do we think about what that means for us and how did we get there? So a couple things for you to think about before we get to our discussion this week will be, what if getting to the top really means living at the bottom? So think about what that might be. And why does Jesus want us to serve people around the world? And we're going to talk about how it is you as middle schoolers, as 8th graders, can serve people around the world. So your pre-work assignment for this week before our discussion will be, I want you to lightly research, it's not a whole project, 3 countries on different continents, and you cannot use North America or Antarctica as one of the continents. And just find out, maybe, 6, 8 things or so about each country. It can be anything. It's pretty vague. Like I said, you don't have to spend hours on this. Just whatever you come up with, Google a country and, see what stands out to you, what's interesting. And we're going to talk about those when we meet on our Google Hangout or Zoom, whatever we end up doing. And you'll have some post work too after that. So, and I will talk about that in our Zoom session. So if you have any questions in the meantime, just shoot me an email, or you can always text me and do your pre-work, researching 3 countries. And in the email I've sent to your parents, I've put down 2 times that you can pick from to have your Zoom session with me. So I look forward to seeing you this week. Take care, you guys. Have a great week.